to everybody. Haribol, Haribol. So today is the 16th of October 2024. And today we're going to go for a prelude of the Vraja-mandala Parikrama. We'll just travel to the eastern side of the Jamuna and see how far we get. So we'll have a kirtan and then we'll begin. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Radhari Jaya Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjari Hari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitai Gaur Hare Bol. Nitai Gaur Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitai Gaur Hare Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hare, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Radha Govinda Dev ki jai. Shri Nityananda Rai ki jai. Sachinandana Gauda Hari ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Parantaracharya ki jai. Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya ki jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bharadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's ki jai. Arupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parasada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Govardhan Dwadasa Bhartmatmika Shri Vraja-mandala ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ganga Chamunda Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani ki jai. Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Ketra Mandal ki jai. Sarava Vignavanasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charadam ki jai. Charasampradaya ki jai. Characharya ki jai. Akara Mat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat ki jai. Grantha Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shrapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Shwapadantikam. Priya Sarupe, Dayata Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhuveka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavartino Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Haripurata Sundaratuti Katambasitapita Sadahridare Kandare Svaratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantam Anapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tam Mayatayo Taravovinedus Tam Sarabhabutam Hridim Munimanato Shmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmari Tarangamadye Kripamayitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasvikatena Kapi Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvai Vina Iti Vignaya Rate Tvam Nayam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhuvyavacha, patitanam pavnibhyo, Vaishnavena namaha. We need that fan on. It really makes a lot of noise. Thank you. Shanti, Shanti. I don't know how much it's coming across on the sound there. So tomorrow is Sarat Purnima, big drum roll, and the beginning of Kartik 2024. So I personally am not going to go around all the Vraja-mandala Parikrama this year. Last year we went to every place in the 30 days. And I'll mention a few of the places. We'll get a schedule. I think our dear Madhav Maharaj, he is going on our traditional schedule starting in Kaliya Hrida tomorrow, or the next day rather, because tomorrow is the Tirabhav of our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So tomorrow we'll be celebrating his disappearance day as well as the commencement of our Kartik Parikrama. But I thought today I'd take advantage of this extra day just to visit many of the places in Braj, just briefly today. We can do a mini parikrama today. So if any of you have watched previously how I've presented this Vraj-mandala, I've generally stressed on the geography, on the locations of the place, so that we can orientate ourselves very easily, especially for Westerners who are just coming perhaps for the third or fourth or first time even, and they don't really know which direction they're going in, or back to front or whatever. So I find it very helpful to orientate myself with the geography, like from a drone view of Braj. So each year we go through the different forests. So on the eastern bank of the Jamuna, so if you're standing in our Gopinath Bhavan, or if you're in Vrindavan and you're looking straight at the Jamuna, and then you turn to the left, that's north. That goes to Delhi. That's the Delhi road. Straight across to the Jamuna is the east, and then south is to Mathura on the right, and behind us is the greater forests of Vrindavan. So if you can orientate that to begin with. So today we're going to cross over the Jamuna. We're going to go to the eastern forests. So there's 5 prominent eastern forests. And the first is Bandirvan. Bandirvan, I'll go through them all and then we'll come back to them individually. So there's Bandirvan, where the Bandiravat tree is, which is very famous, and we'll describe some of those pastimes today. And then there's Bhadravan. Bhadra comes from the name of Baladev. One of his names is Bhadra. Actually, all on this eastern side is the pasturing grounds of Krishna and Balaram, but principally it's like Balaram country, so to speak, on the eastern bank. It's many pastimes of Baladev Prabhu on this eastern bank. So it's very simple to remember these forests because the first 3 begin with B, and it's Balaram's country. So there's Bandiravan, Bhadravan, and Bailvan. And Bailvan is where Lakshmi Devi is still performing austerities today to try to enter into Vrindavan to take part in the Ras Leela. But she hasn't been successful in billions of years, because we understand that this Vraj-mandala, this land of Braj, is eternal. It's Krishna's eternal home. It's not just here for a period of one yuga, like the Dwarpa Yuga pastimes. It's actually eternally here. It's manifesting in different Brahmans constantly, and when Karnadakshay Vishnu breathes out, all the universe is manifest, but they don't all come in again simultaneously at exactly the same time. There's always this Prakat Leela is manifesting here. So this Vrindavan is an eternal place. These pastimes in Parakya, real Parakya. In Aprakat Vrindavan, it's just conceptual that the gopis have husbands. But in Prakat Vrindavan, it's a reality that they all do have husbands. So this adds to the great excitement, to the great color, to the great dramas that actually incur in the pastimes in Vrindavan. And they're just immensely beautiful. And Krishna, he just performs such mischievous activities amongst this parakya dynamic, which is very wonderful and sweet to appreciate, as well as so intensely, romantically beautiful to the conditioned soul even, to attract us. Anugrahaya bhaktana manusyam deha ashritata tadrishi kripa yukpa yashrutva tatparo bhavet. That these pastimes are manifesting to attract the conditioned souls. So, being as our eternal home, it's really our duty to understand something of the nature and geography of it. Because once you get the basic principle that there's 5 forests on the eastern side and there's 7 forests on the western side, and you get the sequence of where the forests are, then straight away you've got a map in your mind. So wherever you're going, you're orientated. You know which way is where. You know where Giriraj is. You know where Radha Kund is all the time. You have an idea. If this is our eternal home, we need to know if we're leaving our bodies and we come into Braj, how can we have entrance into Braj if we haven't done the homework to understand the nature of this land? So it begins, I think, by appreciating the forests on the eastern side. So Bandiravan, Badravan, Bailvan, and then Lohavan, which is a smaller forest, and then Mahavan, which is a greater forest. In Mahavan is Gokul, where Krishna takes his birth, and Raval, where Radharani manifests there. And also Dauji, the township of Dauji is there. And that beautiful deity of Revati. And you go into the temple of Dauji, you see the beautiful form of Baladev in the front, but in the side there is Revati, because Revati was married to Baladev while he was in Braj, but she wasn't manifesting because she's actually coming from Dwarka. She's not from Braj, so she stays in a separate prakosht in the temple. But you can see her from darshan, from a side room. So that's Dauji. So everything is Baladev country really from the very beginning. So when we first come to Bandiravan, there's a beautiful Bandirvat tree, enormous tree there today, most beautiful. And at the foot of that tree, there's a beautiful inscription and a plaque that my Gurudev actually erected, celebrating the marriage festival between Radha and Krishna. There was one day when Nanda Baba, he was carrying very young Krishna, maybe 2 years old, under his arm with the cows. And he saw the huge black monsoon clouds coming across, like a massive storm was about to take place, and the winds started to blow strongly. And he was concerned, where am I going to give shelter to Krishna? And at that time, miraculously, a young Lali just came out, a teenage girl, and she put her arms out for the child. And just spontaneously, Nanda Baba gave her Krishna to carry to safety, away from the storm, into the forest. So she walks into the forest with Krishna, and then they walk deep into the forest, and then suddenly Krishna grows up to be a Kishori age, and that young girl is Kishori age. And then they both come to this Bandiravat, deep in the forest. This is all, when we say forest in Vrindavan, it's not like these sticker trees we see today, these very thin trees. These are huge, beautiful, incredible trees, really majestic personalities, these trees. The Goswamis would spend a night under each different tree, hearing the pastimes that the tree would relate to them. The tree was relating different parts, because every single step that Krishna walks in Braj, there's a pastime connected with it. There's one great personality called Narayan Bhatta Goswami. He's written a parikrama book with 60,000 pastimes described in there. And my Gurudev said this is just the tip of the iceberg. Actually, every single step that Krishna takes, there's a pastime connected with it. So the trees would be witness to this. So these trees are not ordinary trees, they're Kalpavriksha trees, they're special. So this Bandiravat is an exception. Its branches actually would stretch right across the Jamuna. And the Sakas, they would run across the branches to cross the Jamuna when they were with the cows, when they would be playing. And they would play like monkeys. They would see the monkeys jumping around in the trees, and then they would also imitate them and play like that. So this is the pastimes, the frolicking pastimes of the Sakas. But at this particular occasion, Radha and Krishna had come to this tree in the middle of this dark storm. And all of a sudden, Lord Brahma appeared. And then all the Astasakis, Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, Chitra, Tunga, Vidya, Sudevi, Induleka, Rangadevis, they all appeared. And Tungavidya, who's the expert reciter of all the Vedic mantras, began to chant the marriage hymns and prayers. And immediately, Lord Brahma, he officiated as the priest, and a Paka Gandhava marriage was performed under this tree at Bandiravat. Radha and Krishna exchanged garlands, and they were married in a most Paka, correct way. Lord Brahma, the father of the universe, he performed this marriage. So everything was really very correct and so on. So, and all the Sakis were singing the beautiful wedding songs and so on. It was a beautiful festival, a timeless festival. And when that was over and completed and Radha and Krishna had declared their eternal affection for each other, then Radharani, she returned baby Krishna back to Nanda after the storm had passed. And Nanda was somewhat bewildered about the whole situation. How did this actually happen like this? But this is how the pastime unfolds. This is how they actually marry, in Bandiravat. And also in Bandiravat, there's the beautiful pastime when Krishna, he's very proud sometimes with the Sakas, and he's very good at wrestling. But all the other Sakas are also good at wrestling. So sometimes they defeat him, and Krishna becomes very happy. But on this particular occasion, Krishna was sort of walking around with his chest out, slapping his chest, saying, I'm actually the best wrestler. And the gopis were nearby. They said, but you are not as good as our Swamini. Krishna, what? Couldn't believe that they were offering this type of challenge. So Krishna said, all right, we'll arrange for a wrestling match now. And they made a huge circle, the Sakas and the Sakis on both sides. And Radharani was in her corner, and she'd all put on pantaloons and special costume for the wrestling. And all the Sakis were around massaging her like this. Krishna was in his corner, and all the Sakas were massaging him and everything. And then Lalita, she's the referee, of course, and then she blows the whistle, and then the two come together. Krishna comes striding out of his corner. Radharani gives one glance to Krishna, and he's down on the ground, straight. And immediately, Lalita grabs the arm of Radhika and declares her the winner before anything else can take place. She's already declared the winner. She hasn't even done anything, just by her one sidelong glance. So this is the Radhakripa Kataksha of Srimati Radhika. She can floor Krishna in a moment. And this is not pretending. It's not like Krishna was pretending. Krishna was down on the ground and trembling, perspiring. So this pastime performed here at Bandiravat. And also, there was a time when Krishna killed Vatsasura here. The calf demon came disguised as a calf, and Krishna could smell the calf straight away. This is a demon, even though he was looking like a calf. They have garlic and onion coming off their bodies, so he could smell that. And then he told Balaram, and then they quietly went behind that Vatsasura demon, grabbed the hind leg and swung him around and threw him into the tree. And immediately his huge, normal body manifested as a massive demon and crashed to the ground. And then the gopis, of course, they're always around when Krishna defeats the demons, because Krishna always wants to, Krishna is the hero. He's the complete hero, especially when he can defeat huge demons. And the gopis are always most encouraging after he's killed the demons and clapping like it. And Krishna, he feels very like the Nayak, like the full hero, He's just done a heroic deed. But this time, the gopis said, oh, don't you come near us. You killed a calf, just like with Aristasura, the same. No, you have to purify yourself. Krishna says, oh, how will I purify myself? And the gopis say, by bathing in all the holy rivers, just like here in Radhakund. So Krishna, with his flute, he punches a hole in the ground, a well, and he calls all the holy rivers, or Narmada, or Jamuna, or Gange, all the different holy rivers of India. They all come and they offer prayers and obeisances immediately to Krishna. And then Krishna, he baths in that well. This well is called Venukup. Venukup. And it's just beside the tree of Bandiravat. When you're standing in the tree in Bandiravat, you walk just a little distance and there's Venukup. This is a very famous kup. And mothers go there who have had difficulty conceiving children. And they have the strong belief that if they drink this water, bathe in this water, they will have a child. And this water is very healing properties. And this water will cure so many ailments, etc. Even today, you can throw the well in there and it's so sweet, the water, when it comes out. And you can bathe there. So that's right next to Bandiravat. Bandiravat, the tree, Bandiravat. This is all in the forest. It's a very large forest of Bandiravat. And traditionally it was the cow grazing, pasturing grounds of Krishna and Baladev. And they would pasture their cows and wrestle and perform so many beautiful, sweet pastimes. So this is the first forest on the eastern bank, the top forest. It's the closest to the boundary of Braj, because beyond Bandiravan, then we come to the boundary of Braj. So it's one of the last forest, but it's a very large forest, Bandiravat. And then we come to Bandiravan, which is a smaller forest, but again, as I've already said, this was named after Bhadra, who's Baladev Prabhu. And Bhadra, Baladev Prabhu, he would perform many beautiful pastimes in this forest with the cowherd sakas. And they would take the cowherd, the calves out pasturing in this ground, and they would have many beautiful pastimes in this area. And then the next forest down is Bailvan, which we know is that place of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi wanted to join, she wanted to leave Lord Narayan. So it's very profound, actually, this fact that Lakshmi Devi is not completely satisfied with Lord Narayan. So this indicates the greatness of Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar, that he can even attract Lakshmi Devi. But Lakshmi Devi is meditating there, performing so many austerities. And then it's described in two different kalpas. In one kalpa, Krishna comes to question her. Oh, you want to come into Braj as a gopi? Can you cheat on your husband? Oh, Lakshmi Devi said, never. I'm a Brahmani. How can I possibly cheat on my husband? Her dharma is absolutely intact. So she cannot do that. Can you make cow patties? No, I can't make cow patties. How are you qualified to come into Braj? If you can't do this, you can't cheat on your husband and you can't make cow dung patties, how can you possibly enter Braj? So, and in another kalpa, it's Punamasi who comes and questions Lakshmi Devi. But Lakshmi Devi is still determined, and she's still there to this day. And this distinction between Aishwarya and Madhurya has to be fully understood. And when we go to Bailvan, we discuss this point. In Aishwarya mood, everyone is considering that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna himself considers himself the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Krishna is in Dwarka, he's treated as the Paramatma, the Supersoul, manifested externally. He's treated as the great Lord of all the worlds. This is how he's treated in Dwarka by all the queens who worship him, adore him. There is no that mood of madhurya, that mood of sweetness, where Krishna forgets his Aishwarya, doesn't manifest in Dwarka. So it's very, very important that we understand this madhurya dynamic, because in Braj, Krishna is described as Sarva Gyan. He's knowing everything, and at the same time, he's Mugdata. He doesn't know anything. At the same time, he does not know that he's the Supreme Lord. If he knew he was the Supreme Lord, how can he possibly be bound by Mother Yashoda? How could that pastime take place? And he's fully dependent on the mercy of the Brijbasis. If he's hungry, he just has to wait for the Brijbasis to give him some roti and makan, or he has to steal it. But all these pastimes, these are madhurya. Krishna is depending on the Brijbasis for his existence, so to speak, whereas in Dwarka, the Dwarkavasis are all depending on Krishna completely. They're depending on him for their sustenance, for their success in life, so to speak. But in Vrindavan, it's nothing like that at all. Everyone is very, very concerned that Krishna is okay, he has enough to eat, etc. He's happy, and they're all very concerned. So this is a remarkable dynamic, this madhurya. And it was not even understood, we described the other day, by Vyasadeva originally when he wrote the Bhagavatam. He writes the first 9 cantos and becomes despondent, it's described. And then in the first canto, in the 4, 5, and 6, the Narad Vyasa Sangvad, he meets Vyasadeva and he expresses his despondency. He's not feeling happy, even though he's written the Mahabharata, all the Itihasyas, he's compiled, he's broken the one Veda into 4, etc. But he's not happy in his heart. And Narada says, because you explain Gyan Kand and Karma Kand in principle, your principal writings and teachings, you haven't explained the Madhurya Ras. But Vyasadeva didn't really know the Madhurya Ras. He hadn't been, because we have to be gifted with this. This is a gift that can only come from Guru. It can't come any other way. We can't just be here in Braj and meditating and so on and expect this creeper to suddenly enter our hearts. Radharani will ask straight away, oh, who is your Guru? Who are you representing? Under whose shelter are you? Because this relationship with Guru is absolutely paramount to our spiritual progress. Without Guru, without this connection, then there can be no success whatsoever. Because what is the quality of this Braja Prem, this Braja Ras? The quality is greed, lobha. Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavita Mati Kriyatam Yatita Lapite Tatra Loliam Apimulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukriti Analamite. Rupa Goswami is saying like this, that this sacred greed, but that greed has to come from somebody. Just like Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was enacting like a sadhak. He came as a sadhak with the bhav of Sri Radhika. And he had to engage with Ishwara Puri. And where did Ishwara Puri get that seed from? From Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is described as the Prem Ankur, is the root, the seed of this Bhav Bhakti. It did not exist in the world before Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is described as like a Kalpa Vriksha tree, but he's not an incarnation of a tree. So it becomes a little bewildering when you read the Radhakanada Stipika, because it seems to indicate that but my Gurudev said he's not a tree, he's a personality. But he has the qualities, those qualities he can give munificent. He's giving this Bhav Bhakti. This is what Madhavendra Puri's gift was to the world. And Ishwara Puri received that seed from him. For example, Mahaprabhu has come to bestow Manjari Bhav in this world. We have to connect with somebody who is in that same mood. And all of our acharyas in our line, from Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, Sanatana Goswami, Lavanga Manjari, Raghunath Bhatta, Raga Manjari. We spoke about the Goswamis yesterday. All these personalities, they are every single one of them, manjaris. So we can receive this manjari seed. This seed is called bhavalas. This is like a sthai bhav of just wanting to render service to Sri Radhika. This is the specific seed that Mahaprabhu came to give. Mahaprabhu came to give many things, but in principle, this was his principal gift, this Swabhakti Shriyam. He came to taste this Unnata Ujvala Ras. We say, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunai Bharatanokalo. This has not been given for a long time. A long time is an entire day of Lord Brahma, 8,640,000,000 years. This gift has not been given in the world. We're talking about Madhurya, the speciality of Braj, which doesn't exist anywhere else outside of Braj. It simply doesn't exist. There might be great poets in different places, in Telugu, etc., in South India, who are writing, and Mirabai, personality. Mirabai actually was worshipping Dwarkadish. So they might be worshipping like that, but this very intimate appreciation of Parakiya, and only Mahaprabhu was able to put this Parakiya on the map, so to speak. Without this Parakiya Ras appreciated, there is no such thing as Braja Prem, Braja Ras. It doesn't exist without Parakiya. Parakiya is the root of the flavor of Braj, the dynamic between Radha and Krishna. This is the root of all the sweetness and speciality in Braj. It's Radhika herself, actually, who is the queen, Vrindavanishwari. She's the queen of Braj. So she's married to Krishna in that Gandharva description we've just described at Mandirvat. But at the same time, for pastime's sake, she's always in this Parakiya mood. So this, we're always appreciating this enormous distinction. So how can Lakshmi Dev, who's coming from Vaikuntha, how can she connect in with this Madhurya mood if she cannot look at the gopis, what they give up to meet Krishna? They give up absolutely everything that a young girl could possibly hold sacred. Their chastity, their adherence to Dharma, they're following the instructions of their parents, etc. They break every rule in the book spontaneously to run to meet Krishna. This is the highest pitch of Sharanagat. They're not concerned with the social boundaries of the world. To perform this Parakiya, they're only considering their deepest attraction to Krishna, their deepest love to Krishna. Nothing can hold them back. So this is the example that the Bhagavatam and that Mahaprabhu, and through the teachings of Krishna's Kaviraj we described yesterday, are gifting to the sadhaks of this age, of this time, the examples of the gopis' prem. And this only exists in Vraja-mandala. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So this is a great speciality. And when Krishna was on the planet, of course, only Krishna and the gopis could really appreciate this dynamic. The Sakhas, of course, some of them, the Priyanam Sakhas, Subal, etc., Madhumangal, they would have understood something because they were connecting in that way. But none of the other Brijabasis really understood what Krishna was doing. What to speak of anyone outside of Braj? No one understood what Krishna was doing in Vrindavan. The depth of what Krishna was doing in Vrindavan. This is the sacred Brajaras that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has deliberately come to bestow mercy on, so that we can taste this ras. Only at this time. There isn't another time that we can do like this. So we are most blessed to be under the guidance of Mahaprabhu and all his Guru Varga. And they are all manjaris. He didn't come to give Sakhi Bhav. What is that Sakhi Bhav called? Sambhog Ichamai. They're ready to have a relationship directly with Krishna. Sambhog. Ichamai means desire. They have a desire to actually perform the Ras Leela. All those Sakhis are the Sakhis who are performing the Ras Leela, not Manjaris. Manjaris are serving the Ras Leela. in so many different ways. But the Sakis, they are participating. They're receiving Krishna's embraces. So that's a very specialized birth, we can say, to be a Saki. And if you want to be a Saki, you have to have that greed, that lobha, to be a Saki. And then there must be a lobi, someone who can give you that greed. It has to come from the heart of a Saki to ignite that Saki bhav within you. If you believe you are a Saki, then who is your Saki guru? You must have that. So we don't have a line of Saki gurus, because that's not what Mahaprabhu came to give. Especially in this Gaudiya line. In this Gaudiya line, it is all manjaris. It is not Saki bhav. It's not that Ramananda Rai, who is Vishaka, and Swarup Damodar, who is Lalita, they didn't begin their own sampradayas. They didn't begin to make that chain where they were gifting this Saki bhav. They weren't doing that. That wasn't because that wasn't the desire of, that wasn't why Mahaprabhu advented. Mahaprabhu is the most compassionate, Namo Mahavadanaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate. He's the most compassionate, munificent person. He's come to gift us the highest conceivable gift of this because when we read the descriptions of the Manjari's taste that they experience in seeing Radha and Krishna meeting, it's described by Krishna's Kaviraj as being millions of times higher than what they would experience if they were directly enjoying with Krishna. It's hard for us to conceive. We must meditate, we must chant, we must perform bhajan to really actually understand these topics deeply. But I'm just mentioning in the relationship to Lakshmi Dev. How can Lakshmi Dev transition from being a Brahmani wife of Lord Narayan to being a spontaneously parakiya mood towards Brajendranand and Shyam Sundar in Vrindavan? Actually, she can't. It's like the Devas, for example. All the Devas are soaked in dharmic conceptions. Everything they do, it's like Surya Dev. He's so dharmic, he would not take a day off rising and setting in the sun, etc. Chandra Dev doesn't stop his orbit, etc. None of the Devas, for a single moment, would compromise their seva to Vishnu because of their total established dharmic moods. As opposed to the Rakshasas and the demons, they are completely adharmic. They just break it all the time. But the Devas are fully dharmic, even though they perform sometimes some wayward activities like Indra Dev, like even Brihaspati. It's not that they're bhaktas. Actually, it's described that Brihaspati is Brahman realized. So if Brihaspati is Brahman realized, what is the condition of all the other Devas? They are all struggling for that impersonal realization, isn't it? If he is their spiritual master, what aspiration will they have that's higher than their spiritual masters? And we see it directly when Vishnu manifests in front of them. They think he's a great, great, great personality, and they honor him, and they're happy that he's saving them from the demons again and again and again. But they don't offer their life and souls as bhaktas to Vishnu. Like Indradev, he comes and he apologizes profusely for trying to murder all the inhabitants of Govardhan, of Braj, in the torrential rains, when he didn't get his yagya offerings. And then he apologizes profusely. And then a few weeks later, Krishna asks him for a parijat flower, and he doesn't even give it to him. So where is his nishta? Understand these, what is dharma, and how they are so dharmic, but at the same time, they're not like bhaktas of even Vishnu. They have their conception of the impersonal as the higher ideal. But then we read in the Chaitanya Bhagavat how Yamaraj and Shivji and all the devas, they're completely becoming intoxicated with Nam Ras. Totally. Yamaraj, he falls down in his chariot in a faint, and all the other devas have to come around and have a huge kirtan to revive him. So the devas themselves in this particular age are getting kripa from Chaitanya, like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He is Brihaspati in the spiritual world, but he's coming and he's associating directly with Mahaprabhu, so that impersonal conception is being purified by Mahaprabhu, not just in the individuals of the conditions, but also in the devas, in the higher planets. Mahaprabhu's reach, so to speak, his, what do you say? His ability to touch reaches into the higher planets as well as the lower planets. He purifies Jagai and Madai. So this is the munificence, the Audarya Shakti of Mahaprabhu. When we hear the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, if we don't have the predominant influence of Mahaprabhu, we should be a little shy of just hearing Ras Katha without the principal bestower of that Ras, who is Mahaprabhu himself. Mahaprabhu is the one who has come to give the explanation of Parakya. How could a respectable South Indian, for example, Vaishnava, accept that the Lord, the Supreme Lord, is enjoying with other men's wives? How could they be able to get their head around that? It takes someone, only Krishna can come as Mahaprabhu to make these explanations, explain. And someone like the devoted maidservants of Sri Radhika, like Rupa Goswami, to actually explain in the world the nature of this Parakya Ras. So within the Ujjvala Nilamani that Rupa Goswami has given us, all of these teachings are very, very beautifully elaborated on and made out, so that we take this sacred gift of Parakya in a very confidential, respectful way that must be honored in that way. So Lakshmi Devi, it's a huge transition for her to come, and she can't make that leap. Her staiba, just like Uddhav. Uddhav goes to Braj. He spends 6-7 months in Braj with all the gopis, and he respects the gopis. Asam, what's it? Asam, aham, Renu, Pada, Jusam, aham, Shyam. That Uddhav, and he says, Vande, what's that one? Vande Nanda Rinashrinam Padarenam Abhikshanam. He's singing about the women of Braj as being the topmost of all devotees in the world. And yet Uddhav, he himself is actually a Jnani Bhakta. What does a Jnani Bhakta mean? It means he sees the Lord with Aishwarya. He can't see the Lord any other way, like Lakshmi Devi. They don't have the ability to see the Lord in any other, like Bhishma Dev. He can't see the Lord in that Madhurya way. He doesn't have the staiba to actually do that. We have to consider all these points. We must really know, by hearing about Lakshmi Devi in Belvan, we can appreciate this distinction between Madhurya and Aishwarya, and it's essential. Krishna says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, described that he's not, he says the whole world is honoring and worshipping me, but devotion with a mood of awe and reverence does not touch my heart. This doesn't melt him like the Brijvasis do. The Brijvasis' hearts melt. This is Brajadam. This is Brajaras. This is the nature of Brajaras. It's very particular, and it's all being explained so beautifully by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj also, Gopal Bhatta also. All these personalities, all the Goswamis, they have come to revive externally Vrindavan, but internally they've come to gift us the manifestation of real Vrindavan. This loving quality, this prem, this Braja prem, Because there is Vaikuntha Prem, there is Dwarka Prem, there is Mathura Prem. They are different conceptions, not the same. We should take it as a duty to become educated in these topics, because all the literature is there from Rupa Goswami. But we have to be under the guidance of one personality who's also realized in these topics, and it will guide us through. So this is Bailvan. And so Bandiravan, Badravan, I knew I wasn't going to get very far with all the different forests. I was thinking maybe I can even cut across the Jamuna today. But I knew that in these 5 forests there is so much flavor, there's so much juice to actually unpack, so to speak. So after Bailvan, which is a beautiful place, we walk on our parikrama from Vrindavan, we cross over the Jamuna in a boat, and then we walk for about 2 kilometers through the countryside, and we come to this tiny little village, practically untouched almost by the Western culture, and just cows roaming around. This is Bailvan, very, very beautiful place, and there's Lakshmi Devi there. So then we come to Lohavan, the forest of Lohavan. Lohavan is the place of Durvasa Rishi ashram. And this is directly, if you know, in Mathura, because we've come, if you've got Vrindavan here, Mathura is over here, we're looking across the river at all the different forests. So now we've come down, and Vishram Ghat in Mathura is directly opposite to the place where Durvasa Rishi are, which is Lohavan. This is the 4th forest of Lohavan, and Durvasa Rishi has his ashram there. This ashram of Durvasa Rishi is hundreds of thousands of years old. Durvasa Rishi, he performs pastimes in Satya Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, all the different yugas. There's pastimes of Durvasa Rishi performing his activities, usually very wild, and he's the one basically responsible for winding up Ram's pastimes. And we remember the pastime when he put Lakshman on guard of his office, Ram's office. Ram's told Lakshman, I have to speak to Kala. Kala Maharaj is coming, the god of time, and I have to have a meeting with him. Guard this door and don't let anyone in. If you let anyone in, you forfeit your life. So Lakshman, he's guarding that door on forfeit of his life, and Durvasa comes and says, I've got to see Ram now. And Lakshman said, oh, Shanti, sit down, have some little prasadam first, just take a break. You know, no, I have to see now. Lakshman tries to pacify him with all the ability he has at his command. He can't. And then he walks into the room where Ram is, opens the door. Ram looks up in amazement. Lakshman, I told you, absolutely, don't interrupt me at this point. And Lakshman apologizes and says, Durvasa Rishi is here and he's going to bring fire to the whole of Ayodhya if you don't actually have a meeting with him right now. So then Durvasa comes into the room, looks at Ram, says, Hari Bol, and then walks out. That was all. He just wanted that darshan. These kind of leelas, Durvasa is filled with these kind of leelas. And even when my Gurudev took over the property of Durvasa Ashram, where we have a big temple there today, there were many leelas mixed in with the cantankerous nature of Durvasa. Because when we took over that property, we built a huge temple there. And on the altar, my Gurudev wanted to establish Radha and Krishna worship on the other side of the Jamuna. Because on the other side of the Jamuna, they're not so much influenced by Radha and Krishna as they are in Mathura. In Mathura, the deities of Dwarkadish, personalities like this, are very prominent. But across the river from Ghat, they just say to you Ram Ram. They don't say Radhe Radhe. They don't even say Hare Krishna. They just say Ram Ram all the time. So they have that mood. It's a different, in Ishapur is the name of the little village. Anyway, we have this big temple there, and Durvasa was sitting in the middle of the altar, and the Sevaks there just refused to move him across to the other side, to Krishna's right-hand side, where the masters should sit. All the Sakis are on Krishna's left, and we have installed Jamuna Devi on Krishna's left, and Radharani is on Krishna's left. But on Krishna's right is where personalities, spiritual masters, and personalities like Durvasa should be sitting. And the local people just refused to let the devotees move Durvasa across the altar and make Radha and Krishna prominent. So one big festival day, my Gurudev arranged, and he arranged to have the local, what do they call them, the SP and the CM, all different dignitaries from the local town. The mayor from Mathura was there, and a huge festival, thousands and thousands of people. And then during that festival, my Gurudev told us all to move all the people out of the temple for a moment. But they kept the dignitaries inside the temple, the mayor and the chief of the police, etc. And then when all the doors were locked and all the outside people were outside, my Gurudev turned to these dignitaries and told them, actually, Radha and Krishna should be in the center. We want to put Radha and Krishna in the center and move Durvasa across to the side. And the dignitaries, they all thought, yes, this is a good idea. So straight away, some brahmacharis, they picked up Durvasa's murti, a large murti, very large, heavy marble murti, and shifted him across to the left, and then put Radha and Krishna right in the center. And then everything was correct to worship for the Gaudiyas. And then my Gurudev says, right, now you can open the doors. And then all the locals came in and they all saw what it was, but they saw the dignitaries were there too. They couldn't make any objection. So that's how it is today. But those sort of things are what Durvasa is capable of doing today even. Anyway, it's a very beautiful temple there, and we hear these pastimes of Durvasa. We haven't even reached Gokul yet, and our time is almost over. So from Lohavan, which is more like sage country, because Parashuram Rishi has his ashram there. Parashara Rishi also has his ashram there. But behind Lohavan, the last forest on the eastern side is Mahavan. Maha, great forest. And in this forest is Gokul, where Krishna takes his birth. And Krishna kills the demon Putana and Shakatasura and Trinavrata, and he pulls the two trees down, the twin Arjun trees, performs this Dambanda Leela, and so many beautiful, sweet pastimes till Krishna's about 3 years old in Gokul. This is actually where Rupa Goswami had one of his ashrams, and he wrote many pastimes from Gokul. We see that Vidagdha Madhav at the end. It's saying this is completed on a particular date in the forest of Gokul. So Gokul is a very sacred, special forest, and that's on this eastern side of the river. And we have Nanda Bhavan, where Nanda Baba and Yashoda Ma brought Krishna up, and all these different pastimes are performed in the palace of Nanda Baba. This is all in Gokul. And also in the close by Gokul is Raval, where Radharani manifests. Rishabhanu Maharaj and Nanda Baba, they're always close together in all the pastimes. And then just a little further from there is Dauji, the township of Dauji, where I've already described today, where Dauji Bai has his temple there, and Revati is there. So this is very beautiful. Gokul and Rabal and Dauji and all these forests are in Mahavan. So these are the 5 forests on the other side of the Jamuna, on the eastern side. So today I've tried to have a little journey around Vrindavan, just on 5 forests, just touch, just to give us an idea for tomorrow, the beginning of Kartik, so we can move our consciousnesses into remembering all the different, because when you remember the forest, it gives you the udipan, the inspiration to remember the pastimes in each forest. So there are only 12 forests. So on the other side of the river, I'll just mention, and we can discuss, perhaps we'll have time another day. The first one is Madhuvan. This is very, very sweet pastimes. And then is Talvan. And then right next to Talvan is Kamudvan, You can't actually access Kamudvan today because it's filled with water all the time. It's like a lake practically there, but Kamudvan is there just behind Talvan. And then you come to Bahulavan, and then you come to Vrindavan. The forest of Vrindavan stretches up from Vrindavan township, and it goes like in a V shape up. So it gets very broad because Giriraj Govardhan is in the center at the top of Vrindavan forest. And then is Kadiravan, and then is Kamyavan. So these are the 7 forests on the other side, on the western side bank of the Jamuna. So we should try to orientate ourselves with these different forests. And we have some maps we can put on the WhatsApp. We have I call it a mud map. Mud map is just the names, the river, and the forest, so you can get it at a glance like that. Like it's what you do in the mud. When you have the dust or something, you make a quick mud map. So we can put that up, and also put up that Vraja-mandala map where it's in more detail. So on the WhatsApp group you can look at that. But it's very important for us to know these forests. Where are we in Braj? All of a sudden you're on a journey, on a prikrama, you've got no idea where you are. Where is Vrindavan from here? Where is Giriraj Govardhan from here? Where is Vashana from here? Where is Mathura from here? How is the whole, is it in like Google Maps? We need to have a map, in the brain. We can get it. It's not very difficult. There's only 12 forests, and I've described today in detail 5 on the eastern side. So the 7 on the western side, perhaps we'll have time another day to describe, if you're anxious to know those pastimes. But I'm saying this today because I won't be going day by day to all the different places or speaking the places. Some of the places, prominent places perhaps, I'll speak in the next month. Like on day after tomorrow, we can perhaps speak about Kalyakrida, the lake there. It's such a beautiful pastime. But I want to, this Kartik Parikrama, focus principally on Damodar Astakam. I'm only scheduling myself for an hour each evening, not more than that, because I'm not so strong at the moment. So I think an hour is my capacity at the moment. So I want to really focus on Damodar Astakam for the first perhaps 2 weeks and read through the whole Damodar Astakam book of my Gurudev, which is so beautiful. Every single Kartik, we chant the Damodar Astakam every single day. And to go through it and to make a deep impression of those truths in our heart is very important. Because next year it's going to come up again, and next year it's going to come up again, and next year it'll keep on repeating. So we should take the time and trouble to really enter into this Astakam that the sadhus revere so much. Sanatana Goswami in particular, he's given us his tika, and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he's written also. My Gurudev has written also. So it's just loaded with the Vrindavan pastimes and conceptions. All the things I've spoken today are in the pages of the Damodar Astakam. Everything is there in the Damodar Astakam. So we'll go through that. And when that's completed, perhaps after 14, 15 days, I want to go back to completing the Gopi Geet. We reached verse 4 previously, and then I had to stop. So we'll conclude the Parikrama with the Gopi Geet readings from there. So that's my schedule for this Kartik. So I won't be visiting so many places, but some prominent places we can speak each day. 1 or 2 places. We have to keep the Braj flavor. This is what Kartik means. Catch the bhav of Braj, which means the leelas, the pastimes, the sweetness, the speciality of Brajadam. So, Vraja-mandala Parikrama ki jai, Ananta Goda Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Go Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Ju ki jai, Shrimati Radharani Vrishabhanandini Vajeshwari ki jai, Radha Kund ki jai, Gau Premanandi, Vraja-mandala ki jai, Kartik Braka, Hari Bol, Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha, Kripa Sindhu Devicha, Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnave Namo.